Hey, what's going on? Danny here with DTC. If you're looking to speed up your slow and outdated computer, have I got something to show you. Take a look at this. So I went up to my grandmother's for the holidays, visited her, and I actually took her a new computer. This happens to be her old computer that she just gave me because she had no idea what else to do with it. This is a Dell Inspiron 620. It came out in 2011, I think, but I built her a new PC because this one she had wasn't cutting it. So today I'm gonna explain, what she has in here currently, the things I wanna upgrade for it. I'll show you how to install these items, and then also I'm gonna show you how to clone your hard drive to a new hard drive. So that'll give you a little teaser. I'm changing the hard drive on this computer. So let's take a look at what's inside this thing. Right away, this thing is a mess. I mean, you can tell it hasn't been opened in years. There's dust all along the bottom of it, caked in the fans and everything. Your PC may look exactly like this if you're trying to upgrade something that you want to hang on to for a bit. This PC comes equipped with an i3-2100 processor, 2 gigabytes of SK Hynix DDR3 RAM. This is a 80 gig hard drive. Yes, you heard me right, 80 gigs. And it's a Dell H61 motherboard. It's a 300 watt power supply as well. There's no 80 plus rating on it or anything. It also has a DVD drive, as you might be able to see there. So the very first thing I need to upgrade is the hard drive. 80 gigs is not enough to run anything these days. Most computers that you would get out of the box back in this time frame had between maybe 100 and 300 gig hard drives. I've seen a lot of like 320 gig hard drives. This is a Western Digital Blue 500 gig solid state drive. Solid state drives are so much faster than traditional spinning hard drives. Like I said, this is a 500 gig, so this is already, I've got 5 times the amount of storage that I do in this little hard drive, the factory hard drive that's in it. So this is gonna make the biggest difference to us, and probably in your computer too, if you're still on one of those traditional spinning drives. An SSD will be like your biggest upgrade that you can do. This is HyperX Genesis DDR3 RAM. It's 2 4 gig sticks, which makes 8 gigs total. That'll increase, performance and everything on top of adding the hard drive already. So that's really what I'm using. I'm gonna upgrade the hard drive, I'm gonna upgrade the RAM. Let's take this thing outside actually, and I'm gonna use my awesome DataVac I have here. I love this item. I'll leave a link in the description below if you wanna check this thing out for yourself. It's a little pricey, it's over $100. If you ever buy those cans of air from the store that you blow your computer out with or blow electronics off with, this does the same thing. It's a little more powerful and it has interchangeable nozzles, but you don't ever have to buy those cans of air again. And I've got so many computers around the house here and electronics and stuff that I dust off all the time that this thing was a no-brainer for me. It already paid for itself within the first year of use. So, and it's better for the environment on top of that. But let's take the DataVac outside, let's take this Dell outside and get this thing cleaned up. Wow, that was really dusty. Years of use. Not only did I blow out the air in here, I actually grabbed one of these little Swiffer dusters. They go on the end of the wands. And it's nice because it moves around. It's almost like a cloth. And I just wiped the bottom of it and some of the metal surfaces and stuff just to grab the leftover dust that's kind of floating on everything. So first thing I'm actually gonna install is the RAM because it's the easier of the two things to plug in. First thing you need to do is remove your old stick of RAM. Pull on these 2 white tabs. You'll pull one down and one up. You can see they've unlocked, and then the stick will just slide out. Real easy. And then I'm actually gonna set these next two. You wanna kind of pull down and up on those so you're ready to stick your new set of RAM in. You can see for DDR3, it's real easy. DDR4, it's a little more complicated. There's a shorter side and a longer side to the PCB. There's actually like a little notch in here. I don't know if you could see it or not in the camera, but there's a little notch where the orientation has to be, because these sticks don't just go one way or the other, they have to go the direction. But it won't let you push down on it if it's not in the right spot. So mine, the shorter side is on the bottom here, yours may differ. Either stick can go in either direction. You're just gonna get it lined up with the slot and then hold on to the back of the computer so you don't knock it over. You can do this laying down as well. It's just easier for me to film like this. And then you're just gonna push till both tabs click in and seat the RAM. It's called seating. Same thing for this one. I've got my shorter side and I'm just gonna line it up the exact same way. And it clicks on both. So now I've got 2 sticks of RAM, 8 gigs. That was a humongous upgrade over this 2 gig stick. I don't even need this thing anymore now. Okay, the SSD is a little bit more tricky than the RAM, in my opinion, because you have to find somewhere to plug it in at. So unboxing it is super easy. It's just it looks like a credit card. It's small, thin, lightweight. It's got 2 types of plugs to it. If you're gonna plug this into like a laptop or something, they usually have them built in together. But in my case for a desktop, this side's your power side, the longer side, and your shorter side is your SATA connection side that's gonna go into your motherboard. So we leave our original drive in there, and the easiest way to do this, because most people don't have extra SATA cables laying around that you need to plug this in, because you have to have both drives in to be able to transfer Windows. What I'm gonna do is actually unplug the SATA connection from the drive bay for the disk drive. You just pull on it, your SATA connection comes off. You can pull on the other drive and your power comes off of there as well. Now they're really short, so this makes it kind of perfect to put the drive up here. I'll actually sit it there while I'm doing this. And all you're gonna do is check your orientation of how your plug and your connection are. They have like a little L shape. You're gonna plug that into your hard drive and it kind of seats, has a little seat to it. This one's real short too. Oh, it's just connected. And then this one's gonna be the same way. You're just gonna plug it in, see your orientation, and then see how I can just set it in there. Now, if you have the double-sided tape, it'll be nice and clean. You can kind of tuck your cables and stuff like that, but I'm just gonna let mine sit there for now because all I'm doing is transferring the drive, and then I'm gonna switch the drive down here. So my drive is actually gonna sit down in this tray here. I have a mount that's gonna go there. Actually, I'll put it up here, and then just this drive will be gone when I'm done. Okay, once you have all that stuff installed and you've plugged everything back in, make sure your computer has power and everything like that. Plug in your display output to your computer. Very first thing you're gonna do when you get your computer booted back on is you need to make sure that the hard drive actually shows up in Windows. To do that, you're gonna go down to your Start tab here, and you'll right click, and then you're gonna go to Disk Management. Left click on that. Okay, when it first comes into the disk management, this is what it's gonna look like. First thing that'll pop up is it wants you to initialize your disk drive. This is the new SSD that I got. You can see it over here. It says 465 gigabytes, not initialized. It's a 500 gig hard drive, but there's only so much usable space of it. It's a way they get around marketing and stuff like that. Nobody wants to buy a 465 gigabyte drive. Anyway, so Windows pops up and asks you to initialize it. It wants to call it, or it wants to run it in these types of partition styles. GPT is the newer standard, I guess you could say. All new versions of Windows and stuff like that will run on a GPT program or a partition. This one I'm gonna have to do MBR because the old hard drive is MBR, and I've had it in the past where it wouldn't recognize a GPT drive if the BIOS is not set up to be able to recognize that. So just click OK. Windows is gonna recommend whatever you should be coming to, because the last drive I did this to, it wanted me to do GPT. See, now it shows unallocated, and then the initialization should, see, now the drive is online. So I have 500 gigabytes unallocated online. That's good. That's all you need to verify. You can close out of that, and you're gonna open this program. It's EASEUS. I really don't know how they want you to pronounce it, but if anybody knows, let me know. So this is a free program you can get. There's many different free programs you can grab to be able to do copies like this. This is just the one that I've been using for a long time. And the partition master part of it will let you extend the partition later if you need to. So with me, it's not a big deal because my drive is bigger than the one I'm putting in, but remember, this is a little side note, if you're putting in a smaller drive than what you already have, say you have a 1 terabyte drive and you're putting in a 500 gigabyte, which is half the size, you may lose files if you have more saved on it than the 500 gigabytes that you're gonna be saving to. Does that make sense? In my case, this is better because I have a bigger drive, and this is how Windows has it all allocated up here, which is kind of a pain. It's very simple to use. Like, it popped up automatically for me, like, hey, I know you want to clone this thing. So cloning system disk is what I want to do. You select your source disk layout, which is disk 0. This is all automatic now. That's wild. Yeah, this did this all automatically. I didn't even have to check anything anymore. So what it's going to do is make a direct copy of it onto my new hard drive, and it's going to allocate all of that extra space, like even the stuff that's over here, onto there. So I'll have 450 gigabytes of extra storage, or of storage, once I get all the operating system and all that. So all you have to do is hit proceed. So now what it's doing is copying the original disk to the SSD. This may change, your mileage may change by the size of your drives. I've seen some of these take forever because they've got a bunch of stuff saved to the drive, the main drive. The more stuff you have saved, the longer it's going to take. So if you've got a bunch of video games and pictures and stuff like that, you might as well leave this sit and go do something else and come back to this later, because you are going to be waiting for this thing to copy over. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back to it when it's done. Here I am on day 2 actually. As you can see, I've changed clothes and got a clean shave and everything. Yes, it has been an entire day, not because of the transfer from one hard drive to the other, because I had severe issues with this hard drive. The process that it takes to get this thing transferred over and to do is the exact same. So in your scenario, everything should be fine, and you'll hit finish when the thing scrolls to the end, and then you shut the computer down. After you shut the computer down, you'll unplug your main hard drive that you've been running your computer on, and you'll plug in just the SSD, and the computer will boot off of that. Now that's what works for mine. This hard drive is actually a Western Digital Caviar SE from 2004. Yes, this hard drive is 16 years old. So I'm guessing what happened is they probably bought a new computer in 2011, which the computer is from, and took their old hard drive out of their computer from 2004 and threw it into this computer. Because when I got it, Windows wasn't activated either. The hard drive had bad sectors on it. A bad sector is like a bad piece on the disk that the drive is not able to read the information from. So when it was trying to transfer in the ESUS program, it was actually stopping at that point and eliminating the transfer. So the rest of my information wasn't getting transferred, and then that caused me to not be able to boot Windows. Your hard drive should have no issues doing that unless you have this problem that I ran into, in which there was an actual solution. So what I did is I just plugged my SSD in by itself. I got a new copy of Windows, which you can get online. I'll leave a link in the description below that you can grab. You can go to Windows website, and it shows you its step-by-step instructions on how to make a thumb drive with Windows on it. And what I did is there's a Windows product key on top of this case. All I had to do was punch in the product key when I went to boot up Windows, and because it's the same motherboard, it's a different hard drive, but it's the same motherboard, it activated Windows for me. So my Windows is activated. I have a fresh install of Windows. I did install all the same programs I had on this hard drive so that I could get a good comparison, but let me tell you, this thing is lightning fast. The hard drive was primarily the issue for sure. So if you take a look at some of my charts here, I did a Crystal Disk Mark score. It's just a quick benchmark software for hard drives. You can see the direct comparison here. The original drive is the one on the left, and that was running 50 megabytes per second. On the fastest test that I did, I was only getting like 80 megabytes per second, so anywhere between 50 and 80 max. The SSD, as you can see on the right, ran at 239.88 read and 228.94 write. Over double the speed. So that's the big change for me. And as far as the RAM goes, when I first put the RAM in, I tested it a little bit with this old drive in there, and it gave me a bump in performance and everything, but I really didn't see the difference in performance until I put the Western Digital Blue in. Because what happens is, when you run out of RAM in the computer has to write to the hard drive and access information from the hard drive directly. So the RAM acts as a caching system to be able to access your information. That's the basics of it. So when I had 2 gigs of RAM in the computer, it had to constantly be going back to this old hard drive to be able to access information. Whereas when I put the 8 gigs in, it's able to save it to the RAM for short-term storage, and it's much, much, much faster. So mine just had a weird fluke and I wasn't able to use it. But like I said, this thing's from 2004, so I think it's seen its life, and it's super loud, the spinning discs and everything. So this hard drive is done for me. But now I've got 500 gigabytes of SSD and 8 gigabytes of RAM. This little thing is pretty sweet. As far as like a daily use computer, this thing is just as fast as any of the other computers that you'll be using to just surf the web, go on YouTube, play Candy Crush, whatever you want to do. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below so you can catch more videos just like this one in the future. So I think this was a win overall. I mean, I bought $75 worth of stuff, and it took me, if I didn't have the hiccups, it only took me about not even an hour to do everything. And that was me showing you how to do it. So throwing in a hard drive, throwing in some RAM, and I've got a little refreshed computer. Baby.